Hey guys, my first book, Nowhere to Hide, which really covers off in my entire time at the Bulldogs, my football journey, my journey through mental health and all the challenges and great things that happened during my footy career, is out August 2. If you want a real insight into what it's like to be an AFL footballer, particularly through the wonderful years of 2016, please buy it. It's at all good bookstores, and if you can't find it there, my Instagram, tomboyd17, has the link tree with all of the different places you can buy it. Danny, you've read a bit of it?
I've read the first 3 chapters so far, and please don't spoil the ending.
Thanks, guys.
This podcast is brought to you by our partners at 8 Star Energy.
8 Star Energy, a clean energy company leading the future of portable and renewable energy.
To find out more, follow them on Facebook at 8 Star Energy.
I want attacking purposeful football all the time. Now we're going to have backs against the wall and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight hard. You've got to show me all the guts and all the determination you've got in your body. You've got to inspire me.
A marvellous kick. That's as good as you'll ever see. And Footscray back in front.
I don't know about you guys, but if I see one bloke walking out of here, give the pat on the back from people out there for a good effort, I'll spew up.
From inside the centre square. Boys kick the goal. Boys kick the goal. From inside the centre. I can't believe that.
Hey Pack, welcome to Danny Boyd, a podcast about the most wonderful football club in any existence ever, the Footscray Football Club. Trading as Western Bulldogs, I'm Danny McGinlay, he's Tom Boyd.
Mate, it is a sight to see a Scotsman such as yourself.
Irish.
Are you?
My dad's Scottish, but our family's Irish.
So there you go. Look, don't pick bones with me.
Okay.
Well, he's wearing a beret and he's sitting on a blue exercise ball. And everyone's obviously listening to this, but it is a sight.
Let's paint the picture. Let's bring in our guest, Fletcher Roberts. Hello.
Hello, gentlemen. How are we?
We're doing pretty well. Hang on, you talk again?
Yep. All good. Can you hear me?
Let's make you louder. There you go. Bang. Here we go. Live editing. There we are.
Well played.
Fletcher, we are at Boydy's mansion. We are up here in the Upper North Conservatory, and we should just take a photo of the sitting arrangements. Boydy has claimed what he calls the maternity chair, which is this very elaborate Jason recliner. It looks like something Captain Kirk would go to sleep in.
This was part of the negotiation of pregnancy. It was like, Tom, we need to get a breastfeeding chair. Mm-hmm. This chair has been used by Anna maybe twice.
Yes, she did point that out.
And I've used it for all of my meetings. This is my office for all intents and purposes. But on that side of the room, which obviously no one can see where I'm pointing.
We'll get a photo.
There's not as much internet reception on that side because it's further away.
Because it's 200 this room's 200 kilometres long, by the way.
Interestingly enough, the old original structure, the brick is here. So once you hit the brick, the internet reception drops off. And if you go to the front room, you can't get any reception. So, we're living in the 21st century, just trying to work it all out,
Anyways, made me sit on a fitness ball. And Fletch, you're on what appears to be a
baby chair.
Harvey Norman.
I was at Harvey. Really?
Yep.
You're supporting Harvey
Absolutely
Norman.
Nothing to do with football or the Bulldogs. But I must say, in the hunt for bar stools or chairs for a bench, there is a range of, let's say, $100 a chair all the way up to $1 million. And 99.9% of them suck. And they're not comfortable. And I'm like, are these just supposed to be ornamental or are we allowed to sit on it? I don't have space for a dining table in my house, so we had to find ones that were decent. And Harvey Norman, of all places, were the one that had it.
Really? Wow. And all it cost was your soul.
Yeah, well, I'm a man of the people, still buying at Harvey Norman.
Hey, while we're talking bad news, I want to give a bit of bad news for the Dogs fans. Just a shout out to a Bulldogs fan who was sadly lost during the week. Colin George is the man who, in the Northcote area where I grew up, was pretty much the patriarch of the Bulldogs supporting families, and he was the only grown up who would take all the dog supporting kids from around my basketball club, footy club, parish, school. He would take us all to Western Oval back then, and we sadly lost him a couple of weeks back. The last match he watched was the Swans game. which is an absolute travesty. But a genuinely good human. Coached me at basketball, and just want to give a shout out to his 4 boys who are no doubt doing it tough. Valet, as they say, to the great man, Colin George. And in good news, one of the cheer squad members, Vicky, had a heart attack, but she's okay now.
Yeah, she's bounced back, which is great.
That's good.
Now, Fletch, you've obviously just come into significant health announcements about the Western Bulldogs fraternity, if you will. How's your health, mate? You're playing still for some reason. I will badger you to the end of time about why you're still playing VFL footy. Did I see you run in and kick a check side goal, celebrate, and it was a goal.
Thank you.
And it wasn't paid a goal, but you celebrated, ran back to half forward, turned around, and the goal umpire is whacking the post or something going, it was a point, and everyone was like, it was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen.
I got tagged in it on Instagram about 100 times, because 7AFL or something put up an Insta reel saying, a bit awkward, Fletcher Roberts celebrating a point.
What a bunch of absolute bullies.
Flat. I got to my phone after the game, I'm like, this is bloody bull crap.
You can swear.
I was like, bullshit. I'm confident. I kicked the goal. Yep. I saw daylight between the ball and the post.
Yes.
And celebrated.
Any score reviews over at the Borough?
No, down at the Borough, no score reviews. And it's the first time ever I probably have kicked the running goal.
Well, that's
so
my
I was
thoughts.
happy with it. And then when they called it a point, I was so flat. And then did a little hamstring about 10 minutes later.
Did you?
So I didn't play last week. So I think it was from that high speed effort running into
I
goal.
imagine so.
Have to be.
This is where my mind was at. So one, I am certain that you kicked that goal because I thought that I didn't read the caption. I thought they were posting it because it was ironic that Fletch was kicking a goal. And especially on the run, I was like, they're like giving Fletch a pump up. It's like, Dale Morris kicking his second goal of his career or whatever. And then I kept watching. I almost looked away from my phone, and then it was like you, and I flashed back and you looking like completely perplexed.
Bewildered.
And your teammate next to you, who I don't know.
Jay
who was,
Gasper.
Yeah, next to you. And you both just like, what? Oh, point? Oh, I'm going to go defend again now.
We were celebrating the fact I kicked a running goal and actually moved somewhat all right. And we were rattled when the goal umpire called it a point.
What
Even
I'm
the Collingwood players thought it was a goal as
We've got rankings here. It now goes number 1, Fletcher Roberts, Port Melbourne. Number 2, Tony Liberatore, 97 prelim.
Pretty much.
For the most worst goal umpire.
100% accurate, that order.
The other thing is, I'm a big proponent of the power that the mind can have over the body. Would you say that severe disappointment potentially led to your hamstring injury 10 minutes later?
Would have had a big impact.
Stress. Just stress.
Did you do it in the celebrations?
No.
As we call them, winjuries.
Yeah. I wish.
I broke a guy's toe round 1, 2019 when the Dogs beat the Swans.
Oh my God.
Because we weren't
told me this.
No,
not particularly proud of it.
Well, I didn't know I'd done it. So we weren't expected to win. The siren went. He came up for a hug and I jumped up and down with him whilst hugging. And he sent me a message on Insta the next day going, I'm in a fair bit of pain. And
what do you mean? We won.
We won. Yeah, he was happy about it. He was a good bloke. I've forgotten his name. If you're listening, commiserations on the. I bet you other fans have had winjuries. Have you guys ever done yourself a mischief in celebration?
Someone Gold Coast player the other week that popped his finger out when he celebrated the goal after the siren.
Oh, did he?
Oh, was that? That would have been Noah Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
Noah Anderson kicked it, but one of the teammates ran on.
Jumped in.
And then the camera's just his fingers on right angle.
Oh, because they jump into the pack hands first to sort of brace for their forwards.
And he's just popped the finger out.
I feel like, I swear, injuries in the warm-up have been a dime a dozen. I realised, wasn't Tommy... What?
Libba.
When?
I just remembered Libba in the prelim final, at the end of the prelim. He was celebrating and he hurt his ankle up a little bit.
Oh, he did too.
The ankle.
Are we allowed to talk about that now? He
played in the grand final, so
he played the next week, but he flared up his ankle.
This was 2016.
From jumping up and down.
After we, in GWS, when we beat them.
He probably did it. That famous photo of him, with both hands out, looking super crazy, screaming?
Yeah.
Maybe he put so much force through the ground then, he, flared it up.
Well, isn't the camera right on him as the siren goes? So, so as he goes like that,
he's
looking. I think it was when we all ran to.
Yeah, he's looking at Bont or something. I can visualize the face. But it was also, I mean, that surgery was like that was a shot in the dark, basically, because he had an injury which is very common now, or at least just diagnosed properly now, which is a syndesmosis injury, which is essentially like your mid-foot twisting kind of thing. My youngest, I've explained this once, my youngest sister who's an osteo has corrected me, but basically that's what it is, isn't it? Like,
I think
it's a bit different than
I've had one and I can't explain it.
Yeah.
My ankle still hurts.
It's a real tricky injury.
Yeah.
And then they did this
high ankle sprain.
Yeah, they did this weird like shoestring fancy thing, and then they got him back basically instead of 13 or 14 weeks in 5. And that's how he played through the final series.
Oh, so this injury he did, was this against the Cats?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
When him,
Kardinia,
Jacko and Woody all injured himself.
It was such like this is going to sound very obsessed, but this was one of those nights when I'm like, damn, it sucks when you play well and your teams lose.
Oh, yeah.
Because I played all right that night, and then I spent I was like, the
I played poorly.
You're playing on Hawks again. So the story of Fletcher's career, this is genuine. I try and explain this to everyone, is like we played team defense until we played Tom Hawkins, and then Fletcher was just expected to play one-on-one.
He was like, leave me on the biggest and strongest man alive.
Oh, God.
He's a very good player.
And he's still a good player.
He's so good.
Mate, he's actually gotten better. I thought for a while there, I was like, he's just lucky to like stay inside 50. He's massive. He doesn't have to run. And now he's like still their number one score involvement player, kicks heaps of goals, and he's 39.
Is he leading the Coleman? Is that him?
Nah,
I think Kerno's lead.
Kerno, but then Cameron and Hawkins are like
neck
second.
and neck, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, for Geelong.
So did you ever play against, would Bevo put you on Jeremy Cameron now, or would you still be on Tom Hawkins?
You played on Jez a bit in
in
the prelim. Because I always say, I think my recollection of that, of your selection into the grand final, which we touched on last time, was you were essentially the last guy to find out, pretty much. And I felt so bad for you the whole week. Fletcher's just stressing out and trying to enjoy everything, but everyone is asking him, "Hey, are you going to play this week? Going to play this week?"
Yeah, everyone,
and then
all the players, and then everyone outside.
Even Bevo asking you.
but that prelim, I think, we watched it together. We did a reaction to it.
Oh no!
And,
up on YouTube.
Jez kicks one goal, and I'm pretty sure he had 2 touches for the game or something like that.
It's pretty quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty quiet. He was really quiet.
Because of you, mate. Because of you.
Team defense. Team defense.
But
loyal to my brothers.
But then I think we also mentioned last week, I think maybe on the Patreon, when we were talking about the Tex the year before in the elimination final. Because Danny put up a question on Twitter around who are the Dogs players to have won the most finals without losing.
That's right. And it's you, Clay, and Jordan Roughhead.
Of course. So, and someone thought you were in there as well, but you played in that elimination the year before. And
Talia Brothers controversy game.
Yeah. And that was that, mate. That actually, look, I wasn't very happy because I was not playing, but that was an unbelievable game of footy.
It was
a
emotional.
shootout, wasn't it? Yeah.
Absolute shootout. And then I remember, obviously, the last,
I can't remember it.
Fletch can't remember it. That Tex turns Fletch inside out basically on the wing and then just kicks it like
push in the back.
75 meters across his body. This is like prime Tex.
Good kick.
Straight to Charlie Cameron, I think, and Charlie Cameron kicks a goal basically to win the game. It was
good memories.
And didn't Lockie Hunter hand pass to a direct opponent or something?
I mean, probably.
Like, I have mates who, like people like Chaz Liccardello, who rewatch these losses over and over.
We
but
watched
I'm not
the whole thing as a team at the start of 2016.
Maybe we should do that every year then.
Well,
just watch that one match. Fletcher's gone.
We watched it.
Fletcher's gone to PTSD.
It went for about 5 hours.
5 hours is genuine. We watched it. Basically, if it was a line of code, we read every single possession, every single mark, handball, and mistake.
How much were you not expecting code to be that word that he says? If it was a line of code, code isn't the word that I associate with that phrase. But I'm in showbiz. It's different.
I know. I work in software now. It's really sort of rubbing off on me. Now, back to warm-up injuries, because I actually really want to talk about this. There was a few, because you were around when Tommy Williams was playing. He was king of them, wasn't he?
Man.
Yeah, I've got a good one there.
I've met Tommy recently. I met him before.
Every time you say his name, an angel gets another injury.
And he's one of the best blokes.
He's a ripper.
But I just remember, I reckon watching him, it must have been through that quality period of time through the 2009-10, 8-9-10, the prelims.
Yep.
He was playing the majority of those games. And I just remember always thinking, is he going to get through the warm-up? Or is he going to ping a hammy or a shoulder or something? Who else did we have? We had a couple. I think Tommy Campbell might have hurt himself in the warm-up once.
In the captain's run.
Captain's run the day before.
That counts.
Potentially kicking a barrel from like the middle of the
his
ground to try
quad.
and kick a goal.
He snapped his quad, didn't he? Yeah.
Heard it.
quad-
Tommy Williams was a funny one. Actually, we were playing in the VFL.
Yep.
He was like making his comeback down at GMHBA, whatever it used to be called. Skilled.
Kardinia,
whatever. And
Geelong.
he did a little hammy in the warm-up, like when we were doing like not even go up to the run throughs. It was like the stretching.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
then
that's right.
because me and him were meant to be our two key backs that day because they had like 4 key forwards in the VFL. And then, he hurt himself in the warm-up. And I don't think we had an emergency there that day, so we had to play one down in the VFL.
Oh.
And
Well,
we had a very small back line.
That was the story of the prelim too. Didn't Moz hurt himself?
Yeah. We were packing our dacks.
Yeah, that's right.
His Achilles flared up.
That's right.
And like he had to limp off to go into the rooms to do some magic stuff.
Yeah.
I assume.
Even players just call it magic
The
stuff.
magic stuff. And yeah, like he could hardly
Starts with a
move.
J.
And we're like, when we're looking at that, like Boydy was probably the other senior defender.
Yep. Easton.
Woody and that sort of stuff. But I think Woody went into the toss. Boydy was talking to someone, and then it was just like Biggsy, myself, Hammer,
All the most
JJ,
all the scattered blokes.
the
the least-
like, oh my god, what's going on with Moz? What the hell? Like stressing hard.
Moz is the glue that helps us.
And like he'd already got a broken back from the last home and away game.
ago.
Oh, that's right.
Came out of the change rooms and he's like, "Let's go, boys, good to go." And we're just like, "Moz is back, Moz is back, you beauty."
Imagine
And then we
anyone
all
else
just sort
doing
of
that.
settled down and we're all less stressful going into the first quarter, thankfully.
Oh my God.
But what a man!
Well, because was it that game that we asked the boys who were leaving to turn around? They were going to the airport, or was that the first final? Remember, someone got injured in the warm up, or they were risky that they were in the warm up, and boys basically travelled over as emergency, and they had to go back and play in a VFL final the next day. So when it was, I think it was when Moz injured himself. They basically called Rourke, I think maybe, or Webby, and said,
Webby.
Go, turn around.
Turn around in Sydney traffic.
In Sydney traffic.
Oh.
Well, we're in Homebush, so it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But turn around because we need you to come back. You might need to play.
Oh.
Like imagine.
That was the thing. Like we I don't know if other clubs do it, but that year we were obviously those boys that were emergency would fly back and play VFL. The next day, the next
consistently.
morning or
Even
whatever.
for Perth.
I did it for the Perth game.
Right, the first final.
Because I didn't play in the Perth game and then flew
dominated.
back and dominate in the VFL the next day.
Obviously. Kicked a running goal.
Yeah.
So I'm just worried about the
But
flight
most teams don't do that.
flight times though. So so the game's kicking off at 7 o'clock. So it's off 4 o'clock Perth time. Nah, that's how they do it.
No, I flew back the next morning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And played in the
So I know it was a
afternoon.
Thursday night, the Perth game.
Yeah, but you would have
So I
you played
on
on the Saturday.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you flew
But
back
for
with the
Sydney-
seniors.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
But
right.
for the Sydney game, they basically the general rule is like once the boys go out for the final warm up, the emergencies leave.
Because they
So
can't
if they
be
have to.
called in.
Yeah,
I think
you
it's something
can't
like
you
that.
can't change it after that. Like there's like
second
there's a
warm-up.
deadline essentially to
Yeah,
bring in the
okay.
emergency in, but that's also the most terrible way to ever prepare for a game of AFL footy because you've got to fly up to Sydney on the Friday, do like a captain's run, stay there, and then like basically pack your entire bags. Whilst the other boys normally would be staying overnight after a night game, though we flew back that night to try and after the prelim.
Did we go straight to the airport?
Yeah, because that's why the game was earlier.
Red Eye,
Because they had to get the last flight out of Sydney. Not the last train, but the last flight.
Yeah.
Oh, it is the last plane in the
Yeah.
lyrics.
Yeah, the last plane out of Sydney.
Yeah. It's the
No.
last train.
It is the last train.
No, it's the last plane.
Is it?
Yeah.
Last
Only
train
7
out.
flying hours.
It's the last train.
That's
It's last
Is
only
both
7
said-
flying hours and I'll have landed in Hong Kong. He's
okay.
catching
Oh.
he's
They
catching
both
the
sound-
Hurstbridge line up to
They
Honkers.
rhyme.
They
so-
both sound right.
Yeah.
Sing it for us.
Yeah.
Danny.
Oh,
Left my heart to the sappers.
We don't have the rights.
Yeah, we can't. And we do such an accurate rendition of it that we wouldn't be able to get away from it. We
That's
just
right.
get flagged on YouTube.
Oh, well.
What are you up to now, Fletch? You you were still working at Ladder last time we caught up with you, working with youth at risk and doing some program stuff for them.
Yeah, so I made a bit of a change. Now working in sales for Red Bull. So
Here we
selling
go.
energy
Here we
drink. Yeah. Slinging cans of energy. is what we
Cashed
say.
up.
Oh, I
You're
wish.
flying around.
Are you driving that car with the giant can on it?
I wish I was driving one of those Red Bull minis.
Yeah.
No, I've got a work car, which we saw out the front. Just a Commodore. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Low-key Commodore. I wish I was driving one of those minis, though.
Yeah. Do they still exist?
Yeah, they do. They're for the sampling team.
They are, because I don't know if you know this about me, Boydy. I had a very long, illustrious career as a Fox FM Black Thunder.
Oh.
And
which is?
Which is, well, you drive
out
out
free
to
stuff.
give out free stuff. You drive out to,
Sounds horrible.
Mulgrave, McDonald's, and you're like, come on down, we've got copies of Usher's new CD. We don't, we've got one. And the Bogans have to fight over it. It's like pretty much your life becomes Dawn of the Dead after that.
I mean, like in my recent job career, which I've
Career.
heavily...
You're an author.
2 in 1.
Well, specifically the job part of my career, because I do a few different jobs. There you go. That's my how.
There you go. Good answer. Got out of that.
That's how I mentally rationalise
Good
it.
lateral movement.
I unfortunately have had to stand at an exhibit stand. Now that is just pretty
There you go.
bloody rough. But at least I'm with a bunch of other exhibitors. I never feel more sorry than the poor people who sit out the front of supermarkets trying to either sell something or raise money for something. You're like, no one wants to talk to you at 5:30 after a long day at work, and they're just trying to buy their chicken tenders for the night.
The fake phone call.
Yeah.
Jump on the phone.
everything.
Yeah, here you go, mate. Yeah. Sorry, you can't talk.
Save the children. I gotta buy dinner. I'm sorry. I'll look you up later. So anyway, what's the move been like, mate? You still enjoying it?
Yeah, it's good. It's quite different. But no, really enjoying it, learning a lot. Very much a sideways step, and sort of trying to figure out where my career goes from this. But enjoying it, which is the main thing.
I remember when I was in Anglesey during lockdown, I remember having a very long conversation with you actually right at the end of, you must have been trying to get into the Red Bull role then. I think you'd just gone for it. And we were just catching up because I just basically called everyone to basically just get through the start of the day.
You didn't even realise we started a podcast, so I just started recording our phone calls.
It was like actually one of the things that got me through my mornings, because I was like, I need to go out and waste like at least 3 hours because I didn't have a job, and also why not do it walking and trying to be healthy at the time, and then also why not check in all my mates who are back in Melbourne. Then the reason for this long-winded story was that I was there's been a lot of commentary, I would say, about like just players transitioning out of the game, and I'm certainly not here to talk about some of the more challenging stories that have been out there. But how did you find getting out? Because for a lot of people, I think getting started in something is the hardest bit, and taking like 10 steps back, not only in salary, but also in terms of your position within a business, can be a big ego check, I think, for a lot of people, which I would suggest is why a lot of the ex-AFL boys who are, let's say, had better careers than definitely me, not you, because you've played for a lot longer than I have. I think that's why they go into broadcasting, and they go into doing work for Sportsbet or any of these sort of big commercial ops companies, which basically just repurpose them. How have you found the shift back into reality, I suppose?
Yeah, it's a big one. I think takes you a while to find your feet. I still probably don't feel like I've found my feet yet. I think I don't know, I went into ladder pretty quickly post-footy, which is probably a good thing to keep my mind busy, keep sort of seeing where I want to go with...
Structure and all that.
Structure, yeah, keep seeing where I want to go with my career. And then the change now to Red Bull. I still sort of think, here and there, like, what am I doing with my direction and, like, where I want to be in the future. And it's hard not to compare yourself to, like, your schoolmates and stuff that sort of same age, but they're a couple of steps ahead of you in their career because you essentially had a different career.
Hey, Fletch, do they have any premiership medals? And you're winning, mate.
Which is great.
Exactly.
Unless you're going to pawn it, that's not going to pay your bills at any time soon.
You got to try and find some money somewhere.
Auction it. You'll get more money that way.
Yeah. But no, it's hard not to compare yourself to your schoolmates and stuff, but I think you just sort of need to, believe in yourself, believe in what you sort of plan for yourself, and have a clear focus on that. I went to Melbourne Grammar.
See, that's your problem.
Yeah.
If you went to Thornbury High like me, I'm compare it to my mates. Look, I'm not in custody. I'm winning.
It's a very valid point. But you're also still juggling playing VFL footy, which I have repeatedly said, I think, on this podcast and in real life. It is probably the hardest caper going round because you're basically expected to be as good as and as fit as AFL footballers on half the time and 1,000th of the money.
Yep.
Pretty accurate.
Firstly, why are you still playing VFL football?
For the love of the game, Tom.
Yes.
No. I just, I don't know. I think last year I played VFL, only got sort of 6 games out because of COVID. At the end of the year, I was.
Did you play it all the year before?
Nah, it was completely cancelled. Right. But then, so after the finish with the Dogs, had a whole year off because there was no footy, and then played 6 games out of a possible whatever. So I was sort of feeling like, there was unfinished business at the time.
Sure.
And then across this year, it's just became harder and harder with the body sort of breaking down at times.
What are you, 29?
29, yep. I don't know, but I've sort of in the last 2 months started to move pretty well, a lot better than what I had earlier in the year.
Yep.
But then a few soft tissue stuff popped up. But you're right, it's 100% the hardest gig. I don't know how boys have done it for so long in the VFL, training 3 nights a week while working 9 to 5 sort of thing.
Yep.
Especially the tradies are up at 6 a.m., get home at 9 p.m. sort of thing. Just mad respect for those guys that have done it for so long.
Who's that AFLW player? She works on a cattle farm and she has to milk 100 cows and then go into training.
Well, the worst thing is, I don't know, but 2, I always think about how Nat Fyfe tried to convince everyone that he was a farmer in the off-season. But do you remember the big photo up? After he won the Brownlow, he just took 20 shots
off.
in a cattle truck.
With the shirt off, obviously.
Yeah. And he was like, to stay grounded, I just come back down here and work in the office. I'm like, mate, you're not doing that. You're surely not doing that for 8 weeks in the middle of WA in the heat. That sounds like the worst thing ever.
Good training.
Yeah,
Get shredded.
I suppose. She would have kept him nice and lean. Thought that was a problem for him, but anyway.
And Fletch, you're also, but you have joined another AFL side, arguably. Yeah, surely you know this, Boydy.
We spoke about it together.
Fletch is on.
My response was, "What are you doing, Fletch?"
Well, for the listeners who wasn't watching,
I thought he was going to move up there on a rookie contract when I first heard it.
So he's going to Brisbane Lions.
Yes,
but he's on the what's the actual term, Fletch?
COVID contingency list.
All right,
I
CCL.
think. I didn't even know.
God, that sounds so dark, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know.
It's not like the supplementary list, or what about just the practice squad, or like they have in the US for the NFL?
The emergencies for the emergencies for the emergencies.
Correct.
But way back.
But it also
100 rows deep.
But also even in years before pandemics, we went to we were both played in sides at different stages where there was 5 fit AFL players playing in the 2s or less. My first game back after getting dropped in 2015, which wasn't great because everyone wanted me to play well. I had 4 other teammates with me, and I played at Williamstown, and we got spanked.
I would have been one of them.
You would have been. Yeah, and I heard every bit of criticism, every single bit.
It's louder at VFL level for sure.
It just cuts through the air like nothing else.
Actually, I want to ask, how are the Borough fans? They seem a really good cult club, and I've got a lot of respect for them. Is there pressure to play for a side like that? Any more than regular?
Yeah, I don't think any more than regular, but you're right. They are a very proud club, and their supporters are very loyal and very demonstrative to the opposition and umpires a lot of the time. But no, they love, obviously, the Port players and are the most sort of one-eyed supporters, just like Collingwood fans.
Yeah. What's their song?
Good question.
Oh, you still haven't had a win?
We've had a couple of wins.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'll let the other guys start it.
I was about to say, because Paddy Kerr, who used to play at Carlton and then played it with Fletch last year, I don't think he had a great time. You guys were getting pumped every week. Have your fortunes improved a little bit this year?
Yeah, we have won a few more. I think we've won 5.
It's not bad.
When we've played really well, we can only play really well for a half at times. More consistent the last month, but our best footy is better than anyone in the comp, pretty much.
And are you talking about Port or the Bulldogs?
Both. Very similar. Very similar seasons.
Fletch is the line that joins the two together. So whatever happens in one club happens in the other.
Oh. Exactly.
Now, Fletch, I've answered this question when people have asked me, but why aren't you just chasing cash in the bush? like every other ex-AFL
It's
player.
not about the money, Tom.
Why aren't you going into the Carlton draft team of the year thing that they're placing ex-AFL players who are all overweight and no good into local clubs?
There's still time to chase cash.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. Probably next year.
All right. Maybe you could join Jongy at Montmorency Magpies.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea because they pay big money. Not to Jongy, but to other guys.
Yeah, they're obviously under the salary cap.
Yeah, for sure.
We wouldn't be accusing
Just like
them.
Uni Blues, I think.
No, well, those kids are all picked up diplomas at RMIT, which then obviously gives them points discount. I think.
Yes, must be.
There's all sorts of stuff going on.
You guys are being very inside football here with, I don't know which local clubs are dodgy and which ones aren't.
Well, so
No one is.
No one is.
No one is. Short answer, no one is.
Of course.
There's two defining factors, which let's say hard to police, which is salary cap and points. So there used to be all these clubs, Baldwin, say in the EFL, we used to have like all ex-AFL, VFL players. So they put in a points cap, which means you can have 48 points or something like that. So as an ex-AFL player, when you
What are
first
these
get
points, are they super coach? What?
No, they're allocated to players
allocated to a
based
player.
on what you've achieved in your career.
What would you guys be?
He would be a 6 if he moves club.
Yeah.
I would be a 6 if I moved club, but I'm a 3 or something now. 'cause
And
I've
I'm at
been-
5.5.
Well, did you win a junior league best and fairest?
Not junior one.
Did you make like any interleague sides or anything along the way?
For the banners, yeah.
Yeah.
State of Origin banner representation. How's that?
You'd probably get a game somewhere, I reckon. They're always looking for top ups and comedy.
You'll be able to get some cash somewhere.
Thank you.
Surely.
I think you'll find my my Auskick juniors girls side are undefeated.
We should actually talk about this as a real business opportunity, I think, because if we get your player sponsor to be Danny Boyd Podcast, and then you go out there and just like do something ridiculous and go viral,
Yeah.
mate, there we go.
Okay. So like, we talk what? So okay, how about I have the best winjury ever. I'll kick a goal and then like run face first into the goalpost.
Yeah,
And it
like
goes
the Lee Matthews
goes viral on Reddit.
I'm not convinced. You still watch footy, Fletch, at all?
I was saying to Danny earlier, I probably had
What?
a period that
You
I
do?
didn't. Yeah,
Some of us still like it, Boydy.
I had a good period where I
That's like
stopped
talking
watching
about
it like altogether. Like any footy, I just couldn't be bothered watching. But
What
now,
were the emotions you got when you were watching it? Or why did you not watch it more specifically?
I don't know. I just felt like I could do things.
That were better, better.
Do things better at times.
Did it feel like you were back at work?
I was living in my heyday, probably.
Did it
Yeah,
feel
and
a little
like
bit
you
you're
get
back at work.
you get attached to the game. Like you start analysing it, over analysing it,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Just watching two teams you don't even care about. You just start thinking, oh, imagine I did that. And I would have copped a spray.
Yeah, yeah. I used
Brings
to feel
back bad memories.
and also like not only the bad bits, but also like, oh, I could have done that better. And then I look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, no, good enough. Like, you know what I mean?
You're like, oh, I could have done it. Armchair critic, the biggest one there is.
Oh, and as soon as I catch myself doing that, I'm just so critical of myself because I'm like, I'm exactly like I would never say anything like that, but when you think it, you can't help but understand why the fans are all just like, "Oh, mate, Jesus, that guy can't kick to save himself." I'm like, he probably just ran 11 kilometres, so probably that.
That was 100% me in my relaxing chair with a beer in hand during lockdown, watching the lockdown footy. I was there with the biggest fat gut ever, put on about 7 kilos of beer, and was just looking at.
Mate, I've had 7 kilos of beer today.
Just looking at players going, oh, I could have done that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I couldn't.
But
you idiot.
so I had the opposite because I was like, I'd turn it on and I'd be like, I couldn't be in a hub.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was like, I wouldn't even have made it to the game. I'd be like in my room, rocking in the dark corner, going, "Why am I doing
Get
this?"
me out of here. Get me out of here.
So have you watched much Dogs? Surely you watched on Saturday night when we knocked off the Demons. It was a very emotional
What a game. What a game.
I thought I'd processed the grand final.
It brought up stuff for a lot of people.
Oh, man. And then suddenly when the first kick went against us, I think it was a deliberate out of bounds, the Hulk that came out of me very loudly, apologies to everyone on level 2 at Docklands, I just suddenly went, I think I'm still emotional about this.
Yeah, we I think I've mentioned before, we have an absolute Demons fanatic in the office, and he always comes up and has a chat to me.
Oh, yeah, how was he
He's
on
always
Monday?
nervous. Well, Nowhere to Hide, my first novel, is out actually August 2, just so everyone knows.
Good book.
And
Hang on, a novel?
What a
Novels,
se-
fiction
what a
novel.
segue.
yeah, I made it all up. No, it's called a memoir, apparently. I didn't know that. But anyway, just so everyone knows, I actually wrote it myself because everyone keeps asking me that. No, I did not have a ghostwriter. I actually typed the words. Anyway, he looked over
mistakes
to
everywhere.
and
He's brought this up every episode.
I've been thinking just because he's a massive sports fan and a football fan, I'll give him a copy of the book because we've got some at the office. And I waited until this week, walked over to him, shook his hand and handed him the book. And he goes, oh, I knew you'd come and talk to me this week. So shout out to Jeff. He actually listens to the podcast, so hopefully he gets this far and has a good chuckle.
Where did you boys watch on Saturday night? Were you there or?
I was just on the couch at home.
Yeah,
actually. Pretty low key, but yeah, you're right. Like there was a point in the game where the Dogs kicked a goal, but then Melbourne kicked 2 or 3 really quickly.
They kept doing that.
And I was just like, oh no, that's the grand final all over again. Like
was
thinking
so
about Bonte's
triggering.
snap and then Melbourne just going bang. And I
Yep.
was like, that could be what's going to happen. But then Dogs fought through it.
I
and-
still can't fathom, like when people tell me that the grand final, we were up, 19 minutes in the third quarter.
Yeah, roughly. It was 19 points, definitely.
So anyway, some portion of the way through the third quarter, we were up. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
Wasn't
what?
that the first
When?
quarter?
When? Yeah, didn't we kick like a couple of goals and then lose? But no, like Bonte turned it on and had one of the greatest quarters or runs of football we've seen ever.
And then we all just stopped.
And then it genuinely looked like concrete filled our boots,
And
which
then they
it's happened to me before.
Oh, me every game.
Yeah, most of the time.
Most games.
But then it didn't happen on Saturday. We got our revenge. It was so sweet. And to see, like, there were so many threads of, like, justice happening. Not only the win, just seeing Bont go into beast mode in the last quarter, but seeing Jamara.
Yeah.
You know, who would have guessed that this kid is good after 17 games? You know, his first 16 games weren't as good as his 17th.
I do love, though, when they do I think the AFL do this, like, we loved this of the round at the moment on their socials, and they flick through and they've got like all the like players' disposals. And like say like the highlights of the match, and it's like Tuke Miller had 34 and 10 tackles, and then Jamara's is like it's like 5 goals, 5 marks, and then that's it because he had 6 touches, but he kicked 5 goals. Did he? Like they couldn't populate the entire template they were using, and I'm like, well, look, if you kick 5 every week, doesn't really matter if you get 5 touches or 50. But mate, it is good to see him go well. It actually, I remember because this is his second season now.
Third.
Oh, it's his third season. Yeah. So he was only eligible, I suppose, for the Rising Star nom because he played less than...
He only played like 2 games,
20 games or something.
Yeah, right.
Less than 20 or in your first 2 years, something like that.
It's a funny thing because when in 2015... 16, I got a Rising Star nomination against Brisbane, and I remember Dennis Bicer, who was the media manager at the time.
Great bloke.
Yeah, he'd been defending me to the hills, and he called me up on the Monday. Straight after the game, he grabs me and he goes, "Tommy, I'm gonna get you this nomination this week, mate." I was like, "How are you gonna get it for me?"
He played, mate. He played.
He called me on Monday. He goes, "Told ya." So it is good to see him do it. Have we got any listener mail?
We do indeed,
Danny?
yes. All from probably our most active listener, one of the Patreons. Get on board the Patreon. We've had a few newbies join, but everyone get on board because we do a bonus episode every week where you can pretty much ask anything, and we'll get into the nitty gritty of it.
If you want to hear Inside Baseball, that's the place to do it. We're trying to keep this bit fun, but the inside, actually what's happening in the game and why it's happening, we talk a bit more about it there.
Although last episode was much more inside showbiz.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just talk like inside parenting.
Yeah. it's just inside us at all points.
Yeah. Like the outfit change I just had to do for my daughter because she managed to defeppy quite violently.
Fletcher Roberts just learnt the term punami.
I always think back to that, like whatever it was, nappy ad, which I can't remember what brand it was. It was like 1, or did they do a 1 or a 2 or a 3? What's a 3? A poo explosion.
That's right, and they did it inside the car.
Yeah.
It was just,
God, wow.
Anyway, so Superb Mario.
Yeah, he's our guy.
He's a very active listener. He's got some great questions. Okay, so we have Geelong this week. How does the team set up the week other than use the win against Melbourne as a morale boost? Do they review the previous match against Geelong? Do you review Port Adelaide's resurgence last game and take notes on some aspects, finding to implement it or mould around our style? Do they review how the boys worked against the Demons previous game, or do they do all three?
Wow.
Yeah. He's active.
Great
Fletch,
questions.
you go. You're the one who's actually still playing football
Where is the
semi-professionally.
game again?
Kardinia.
That
I
obviously-
always liked playing down there, but we always lost.
Yeah.
We haven't
That-
won there since 2003.
I think, yeah. I think that the-
2003.
Yes.
What?
We have not won there. And we won in 2002, but we've only won in
chance.
total
Big
14
chance this week.
times.
Yeah, we like
Big chance
breaking
this week.
records not after 2 decades. We like breaking them after 6.
That said, our women are undefeated there.
Oh, no, there you go.
That helps.
Fletch, what do you reckon?
I think that analyse the things they did well, obviously, against Melbourne and how they can use them in Geelong, particularly on a different ground, because Geelong's ground down there is just you have to play
Cheating.
You have to play. You have to play.
It's
it
actually
differently.
cheating.
You play that differently to Etihad, to Marvel or the G or anything. It's a different shaped ground.
It's skinny. It's skinny and
So-
long. It's
Yeah.
like Subi,
Yeah.
except not as long as Subiaco.
Not as long, yeah. So defensively, they'd be looking at how they can obviously target their pretty capable forwards.
Yep.
With their Dogs defensive system and because it's obviously different to what it was at Marvel.
I wonder what. I wonder if when Jeremy, I mean, other than lifestyle, when he was looking at which club to play for, he looked at Kardinia Park and he's like, you know what? I'm faster than every defender in the league. Maybe I go to the long, skinny ground where they can't kick around me, because it suited Hawk for a long time too. And honestly, when I explain why I liked playing there, I played well there as a junior and some of my better games in AFL. And the reason was the ball couldn't miss me. I didn't have to be so fit that I had to get across the ground all the time. It goes straight there all the time.
it's a
So
good thing.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the other
Which
thing I
works for
do.
Hawkins, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh,
Playing on me.
yeah.
Just those games.
Wait, hang on a minute. I think he kicked a few on you at Etihad once or twice too.
No. I can't remember that.
Fake news.
Nah, different guy.
different.
And
Oh,
also,
that-
I think Jeremy Cameron, I had him for speed back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, speed of mind, maybe.
Yeah,
but
that's all.
I mean, presuming that you do. I'll tell you the other thing they will do. I think back to when we played Richmond when they were going well, and back then their whole thing was just do a rolling maul, knock the ball on, knock
This
the
is
ball
Geelong
on.
you're talking about.
No,
Richmond.
Richmond. I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah.
So something really specific that we practiced that entire week was essentially changing the direction of the ball. So as Richmond knock it towards their goal, if you could just knock it back our way with a big spoil or a kick off the ground, because they were all front runners, it would leave them hugely exposed. So for Geelong this week, I all but guarantee they'll be looking at some of the things that Port did that really unsettled Geelong last week, and they'll be like, this is one thing that Geelong can't handle. So let's train it, practice it, focus on it. And then that'll be 5% of the game, and then another 95% will be, as Fletch said, focusing on what they did well against the D's on the weekend.
So that's what the meetings will be.
Well, hopefully the meetings are short, because inside baseball has been pretty long lately.
Oh, really?
Well, when you're losing, you don't tend to not have a lot of things to work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another question he's got is, we're going into trade week now. Isn't trade week just the free-for-all for media? You can say whatever you want. In fact,
Great trade story and Nowhere to Hide, I hear.
is there?
yeah.
Great book. When's it out?
August 2.
Oh, it's too. AlanandUnwin.com.
Yeah. Or any of the links in my link tree, Tomboyd17 on Instagram. There you go. See, this shameless plugging. I will never do it except for right now.
You can do it.
3 or
Because
4.
I've been waiting too long for this book to come out. Please, everyone, have a read. So it's actually really quite good, apparently.
Mate, I've got a play coming up. I've got comedy festival with these. Get used to the plugs, people. This is all that's happening. In fact, but I'll also throw this out. We used to do this on ABC Radio. If you, because I don't know if you guys get this in the workplace, probably different because you played the game, but you will just get people coming up to you in trade week and you could just say anything like, I hear Fletcher Roberts going to the Adelaide Crows. And you go, where'd you hear that? And you just say, on the radio. And that's all you need to do. So we did a competition where people could just ring up and make up anything just so they could say, yeah, I heard it on the radio. So people were ringing up going, I hear Lance Franklin's going back to Hawthorn and he's taken...
That actually came up a couple of times over the years and got traction.
There we go. Probably because of us.
Yeah, hopefully.
So
awesome.
Hey, if you want to be out, because no one listens to radio anymore, but you could say, heard it on a footy podcast. Can't remember which one. Just text me.
Yeah,
and
or even better, the WhatsApp rumours.
Oh, WhatsApp's good. Yeah, but we'll say them on this podcast. If you want us to make up, if you want us to deliver one that you've made up.
Well, not make up, just hypothetical.
Oh, well, no, mate.
There's no. We're not going to define
nothing
what
can
the
ever be made
percentage of what it could happen. I mean, what's the percentage of Fletcher Roberts making a comeback at full forward? It's not nothing.
I've heard
it.
preventing it.
It's not nothing.
It's, I heard it on a
Fair in the
podcast.
square.
That's all we need to say. But anyway, another thing Superb Mario's put to us is, should the Bulldogs consider maybe looking into getting a returning Joel Hamling?
Is Joel on the move?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the first I've heard of it.
He's in the twos for Freo.
Really?
I think he's a bit out of favour, maybe.
Isn't he in the leadership group? Or not anymore?
Not anymore, I don't think. He
He-
was.
well,
He was last
wow,
year.
they really brought
He's
in
expecting his first. He's on the
Yeah.
way, which is exciting.
Yep.
That's not me breaking news, by the way. It's been on Instagram forever.
yeah.
I'm not leaking anything,
Yep.
which is awesome. Joel's a year older than you?
No, my year.
Yeah.
29.
Probably not. I think he likes Perth. Though
He's from there,
He's
isn't he?
from Perth.
No, he's from Broome.
Oh, well,
He's too,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
He's from Broome, but he lived in Perth, I think, from like 14 or something.
Yep.
He moved back for family reasons, and
So he's in the leadership group, but in
He
the twos.
was, he was.
That is
He
so
was.
Bulldogsy. They
Yeah,
are
he
really
was.
just
Yeah,
copying us so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, come up with your own idea.
Well, actually, and also if you think about it, Joel also had a lower foot injury as well, I think, at the time. He has a lot of ankle injuries over the last couple of years, ankles and calves. I doubt it. Like, I feel like we're actually kind of settled-ish down back.
Yeah, I think
want-
they're persisting.
I mean, everyone's talking about Rory Lobb, but according to the Damien Barrett and Tom Brown and all of them, they're all. Have you noticed this never happened when we were growing up? They just talk about which journalist it is breaking the story. That was never.
It's like Instagram like videos that come out now. Everyone like references who actually filmed it. It's like, who cares? Like,
Unless it's Spielberg.
Is this information like in America? They have about like 5 journos per sport who are like 100% on the money. They just know everything all the time.
That's pretty good.
Like there's like Woj in the NBA. He drops it. There's Scheffner in the NFL. Like there's these guys who would just know everything about everything all the time. But we don't really have that over here. It's pretty sort of, they get it half right. You know what I mean?
So do we want Rory Lobb?
I don't know.
Do you,
I
'cause
don't
He's playing well this year.
do you know what do you know why I don't know anything about him? He suffers from that thing of playing for Freo.
Yeah.
So I don't get any news about him.
Well, he was
here
at the
in
Giants
Victoria.
when I was there.
Oh, cool.
So he got drafted as a 21-year-old, I think, out of Perth, and he's an interesting kid. Like, just came across. The first thing he just did the typical Perth thing, which was just buy like a massive Hilux,
What colour?
all blacked out.
Yes!
But it's tremendously difficult to match up on. Like, he actually gave me more trouble than Mummy did because he's 205 and
so long.
yeah, it's super springy. But is it going to hamper the Darcys, the Englishes? Like, where's he going to fit? Jamara?
Well, Darcy's a few
Norton.
years off. Is it just
Is
there
he
as
though?
a backup?
Like,
Well,
is-
Steph Martin probably retires.
But Sweetie's there. They're giving him a go. Like,
Yeah, Bevo's going to give him a go finally.
yeah, well, he played a couple of games, didn't he?
Played a couple.
But I don't know. Like, and Rory's been playing like, he plays a little bit on the wing, and then he's played forward, and he plays ruck, but he doesn't really.
Can he play out of position? Bevo wants him.
Yeah, true. He'll be playing him at like back
Back
pocket.
flank.
There'll be this tall, blonde-headed guy.
He'll actually be in the Oz kick at halftime.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends. I mean, there's always like price point. Apparently, rumors of rumors that the Dogs have got some salary cap space, but whoever knows if that's true.
And we have you to thank.
No, it's all
How
gone
is
now,
the
mate.
salary cap space? Like the midfield is
Well,
stacked.
Adam
Bont is
Trelaw, I don't know
such
if
a-
you
the midfield
remember,
is
Adam
stacked.
Trelaw plays for Collingwood still.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
There you
Collingwood
go.
pay him. That's it.
But
well.
still, yeah. Well, I mean, I think we got a lot of young boys too. I mean, like Jamara and like a lot of the guys will still be on young rookie deals, and then Norton's on like a $5 million a year, and so he
Pay
should
him
be.
more.
You know,
Pay him
and-
more.
Bont is such a nice guy. He actually pays the club to play.
Yeah, yeah, not sure that's true, but or is that why he's doing so many promos? Like he's like doing the thing for the lawyer
car.
company, and he's doing the Amy thing. Yeah, maybe that, and he's a superstar.
He's got
I
a
don't
career.
know.
He's got a career in acting post footy.
Oh my god, that Amy thing is so bad, but also kind of funny. Like, when the guy in the restaurant or whatever is watching the game,
the
the Bulldogs
hairdresser.
lost. Yeah. He just turns around and he goes, And Bond's like, oh, no.
And I love they've got the graphic on the screen that flashes
Your
Bulldogs
Bulldogs
lost.
Because they can't use any footage.
I would love it if finally the media had such a Bulldog-centric view of it, rather than, Bombers win. No, Bulldogs lost.
Bulldogs lost.
That's the lead.
Yeah, I don't know about the whole lob thing. Actually, I'm the worst person to ask because I really don't pay enough attention to all of this.
Maybe Bailey Smith has to pay to play for the club just to keep himself
'cause
under a tax bracket.
He's out of contract as well, isn't he?
Is it? Oh God.
No? Am I Bailey Smith at the end of this year?
Nah, that would have been a massive.
Surely.
The rumours would
they
have gone
signed him
nuts.
this year. They signed him earlier this year, I think. Remember
Surely
we had
that would be a lot
didn't we
of
have
money.
Bailey Dale, Bailey Smith,
Jacko McRae early in the year.
McRae.
Whenever we had a bad loss,
I'm pretty
they
sure
would
we've
re-sign
locked.
someone.
I'm pretty sure we've locked down all about. Well, they
Bailey
re-signed
Smith?
someone. Yeah.
Really?
Maybe not.
I don't know.
They'll pay him $1 billion.
Yeah.
Who?
Everyone else.
Which Bailey?
Everyone
Bailey
else
Smith.
Yeah, right. Oh, hey, Bailey Dale. Hey, let's give the award.
Yeah, Bailey
the Jazz Stevens Award for doing awesome things. And
Yep.
it just look, we always said we were going to go for someone that the unsung hero, but you can't go past Bailey Dale spoil.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was
Match
nice.
winning.
That was nice.
And also
And you also know that the forward who was in that situation was basically told after the game, hey, you need to attack the footy.
that's Fletch you're talking about? Yeah.
Guaranteed. Like every time that I ever had someone come back and spoil in front of me, they were like, you should have killed him.
Who was the forward? Fritz
Fritch,
kicked it
I
to
think.
him.
Oh, I don't know. He said Fritch.
Yeah, no, it was
Because
Fritch who
Fritch-
passed it. Sorry.
Fritch
Yeah.
passed it, which is rare for him.
So whoever, because that, like the way Bailey came back and spoiled is one, really courageous, and two, like super dangerous. His ribs and stuff are all
Yeah.
exposed.
But he didn't touch the player. Didn't give away the free kick at all.
It was- very well played.
Again, this is not taking anything away from Bailey, but Bailey also could have got annihilated by a knee.
Yeah.
And that's what they would have told the, don't wait for the footy, go up and smash him.
Actually, can I ask you this, boys? I don't know how to kind of do it in an audio medium, but you know how in a contest like that, if you're going for the mark, you get a free kick against you if you're looking at your defender or your opponent. What about see if you can describe what I'm doing here, Boydy. But the ball's coming in, Fletcher's about to mark it, and rather than me spoiling it like
so
that,
Danny's coming back with a flight.
I come back with the flight, but I turn around and pretend I was going for the ball.
Yeah, which is
At the last
basically
minute.
well, it's basically what you have to do. So
But no, I never see anyone doing
what's
it.
really awkward. It's very hard to judge and time. And also, essentially, as the ball comes in over your head, so the defender's running back with a flight, the job of the forward is essentially to check you and bump you because you can't see the ball and the player at the same time. You've got to look one way or the other because you're facing sideways.
Yeah.
And then after the hit, they should be able to get the ball. That's it.
Marcus Bontempelli on Luke Hodge in
Yeah.
the semi-final.
Yeah.
that.
That's the perfect
moment.
It's the
example.
perfect example of Bont protecting the space.
Yeah, I tried it when I was
where
20.
Hodge was in a hard position.
I tried it when I was 20, and sometimes the defenders are just like made of steel, and you bump them and they don't stop. They just keep coming. So I never quite mastered that one. I was much better at jumping up without anyone impeding my run. But anyway.
It would have been such a because the Demons were doing that thing constantly of just getting quick goals, and that was felt like the first time we stopped them before they started. And also shout out to our friend Hamish McLaughlin, who I thought commentated it perfectly when I watched the replay 1,000 times later that night. Of such an important punch for tonight, maybe the season.
Yeah.
Oh, good poetry.
Well, also shout out
That's
to
very
Hamish
good. That's
because
very good.
shout out to Hamish because he made in his an extraordinarily hectic schedule, both on and off his off the field. For an analogy, he made the specific time to help me out promote the book. So thank you, Hamish.
Is there a book?
Shut up.
Do it.
I've never heard of this book.
I'm going to cut a promo after this to put at the start of the episode. I've thought about it now. Let's do that. It'll take 2 seconds.
Sure.
Fletch, we won't take up any more of your time. Thank you so much. Any final thoughts, Danny, before we let the big chin go?
How are we going to go against the Cats?
It's going to be a very close game. I reckon the Dogs are on a hot streak and they're going to run over them.
How many rounds do we have to go?
4.
It's about the time where the Cats start really stumbling in a normal season.
Dropping away.
Dockers,
True.
Giants,
They do.
Hawks.
This is so the Cats' blueprint is dominate until this round, and then it's usually like a couple of average games, then like one good one at the end against a shit team, and then fall over in 2 finals.
And it's a night game, so considering their average age is about 52, it's way past their bedtime.
Or do they all have insomnia so they'll be wide awake?
Hard to know.
Dogs go, dogs go
afternoon
4.
nap.
Dogs go 4 from 4.
Yes.
The next
and
the next
we win
4
the flag?
games.
You got it?
Yeah. Why not? Why
What
not?
is the math? We got to win the next 4? Because the Richmond draw kind of makes things interesting, right?
Yeah. No, if everything goes to plan, my son plays with the ladder predictor.
Yep.
And you get, who is favoured to win for all of them. And he's pointed out to me that if everything goes the way that the experts predict, we're in.
Yep.
On percentage.
In 8th, yeah?
In 8th, yeah. So we're 2 games out of 7th. St Kilda the same as us, but we're 10 percentage points ahead of them.
St Kilda.
And
They are stumbling.
They are.
And they've got
a yo-yo.
Cats, Lions and Swans to come, whereas we have, who I said, Richmond have Lions, and then a pretty easy run with Port, Hawks and Bombers. But according to some WhatsApp rumours I've had, the Tigers are, all over the shop.
Yeah. Can't confirm or deny, but they could be true.
WhatsApp's a wonderful thing.
Listen on the Patreon. Good night.
Today's episode was proudly brought to you by 8-Star Energy, creating energy for the future and power you can count on.
Follow them on Facebook, 8-Star Energy.
I gave my childhood to that roar of the red, white and blue sea, and the knowledge that you had to love the Bulldog boys and me. 20 years on, I feel that longing hanging in September air. But the reason I go every week is to pretend you're still there. And they will find the glory one day, and I will throw it at your feet. It's a long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets. Long, long road they're running for you, the dogs of Footscray streets.